Hi and welcome to Indigo Starfire. My name is Bevin, and in this video I'm going to be looking into the question, what are the person on your mind's thoughts and feelings about you and the connection right now? There are three groups to choose from. Group 1 is the clear quartz, along with this card which says remembering. Group 2 is the Caribbean calcite, along with this card which says nothing has gone wrong. And group 3 is the Larvikite, along with this card which says there is only light. So if you want to take a moment to center, focus on your breathing, and feel whichever group, maybe multiple groups or perhaps all of the groups that you're most drawn to. I'll give you a minute to make your selection and then we'll get right into it. And there are timestamps in the description box of the video for each group if you would like to jump ahead. And up next is a close-up photo of the crystals and the cards to help you better make your selection. Hi, Group 1. You chose the clear quartz. Along with this card, which says remembering. So just some quick introductory energies about the person on your mind, their thoughts and feelings about you and the connection right now. They seem to be looking back on maybe a conversation that took place where there was a missed opportunity, words came out wrong, or there was an urge, there was an inclination to maybe express deeper feelings to you, and that they missed that opportunity. They are looking back at that as a stumbling block, and with that is kind of the building, it feels like, of the motivation to the next time this cycle comes around. So like maybe the next time you see them, next time you speak to them, if you're in contact with them, they're going to give more, they're going to be more forthcoming. There's an intention towards that, to not let more time go by without expressing some kind of truth. This could be a heaviness, this might be deeper feelings for you than they have let on. It's a sense of wanting to have more reciprocity in this situation, and remembering that partnerships are equal give and take. So if there was something where maybe even they were kind of feeling that their needs weren't being met, and yet they hadn't expressed something that was weighing heavily upon them, something that they were wanting to lean more deeply into you with, then it's a sense of kind of like backtracking, sort of pulling back from any kind of frustration or moodiness, poutiness, anything where they've gone kind of cold, or there's been some sort of block that has kind of been installed in the connection through like introspection, or again like some frustration about a missed opportunity. And there's a sense of recognition that in order, even if you're psychic, you're not a mind reader. And so in order to really have fluidity and forward momentum, it requires equal give and take. They need to kind of present to you more of what those intentions are, express more of those feelings, and allow you to meet them halfway. So opening up the lines of dialogue between the two of you more. If this is somebody you're in a no contact situation with, this definitely ties into like the last conversations that you've had, the last interactions that you've had. Maybe you parted ways on unfriendly terms. It was kind of like a heated argument, or the cold shoulder was given. They ghosted, they blocked, they left you with a lot of unanswered questions. They're recalling their reaction to something where they were triggered, something that distracted them or pulled their attention elsewhere, and it feels that in the aftermath of whatever that was, they're having second thoughts, they're having regrets about how they've handled this situation, and so it brings that train in the background, can be confirmation of that as well. So this is somebody who's really not enjoying the way that they left things. If they we're kind of frustrated. It's almost like they're leaning now into, sort of remembering the better times between the two of you, maybe even thinking back on the early days of the connection, and some strategy and brainstorming as far as like, how can we get back to that point? Is it possible? Is it salvageable? Is it too little too late? Would an apology be received well? Would it be received at all? Or would it kind of be the turning of the tables, the door slammed in their face to kind of reciprocate maybe their behavior toward you in the past? Definitely the energy of Six of Cups, a lot of nostalgia here. Even if it's someone you're in contact with currently, this feels that they are really reflecting on kind of the progress between the two of you up to this point in time. And anything where it was almost, again, like a miscommunication or some vibe that you had going with one another. Maybe there was a stumbling block, sort of that harmony. It got a little distorted at a certain point in time, and they've needed to sort of go within and reflect about that, or have been sort of frustrated or a little bit upset about that. It's also that energy of sort of thinking back on the earlier stages of the connection, the fresh feeling of the two of you starting to get to know one another, or feelings starting to develop and blossom. And there's a lot of thought that's going into how can we replicate more of that? How can we move back in that direction toward the purity, toward the innocence, towards smoothing out whatever sort of disagreements, maybe even something just very subtle, just energetic. It doesn't even need to be anything that was said. It's just kind of the idea of a vibe or a harmony between the two of you getting muddied somehow, and an energy of wanting to kind of clean that up, bring a fresh energy into this circumstance, maybe lighten the load, some heaviness that had been going on. This may even be heaviness in this person's life at this point in general that they hadn't necessarily fully been open about and expressed, but sort of took it out on you in some way. Or again, there was like a moodiness or a closed off energy, and there's kind of a wake up call that has happened, it feels like, for them, where they're understanding like this is not a conducive way in order to progress forward toward happier times with you, or to sustain the relationship, preserve the relationship, or if it's someone in no contact, kind of the energy of they need to course correct something within themselves. They need to kind of get back to basics, look at the situation with the beginner's mind, rather than bringing all of that heaviness and distortion into, the possibility of reconciliation. It feels like a lot of thoughts and kind of these efforts or things that are being moved through as far as the heart space and the feeling space, to kind of bring purity and clarity to themselves, and then be able to sort of infuse that into the connection, or reintroduce that into the connection if they're at a distance from you. So I'm going to get into tarot and dig a little bit deeper about this. What are their thoughts and feelings about you and the connection right now? Okay, so we've got Ace of Cups, which is water energy, Pisces, Cancer, and Scorpio. The Eight of Cups, so more water energy. Six of Swords, which is air energy, Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra. And the Hierophant, which is Taurus. So definitely there's an urge to ascend the connection, to develop the connection, to move beyond whatever stumbling blocks have occurred between the two of you. Anything that has kind of veered off course, they're wanting to course correct in a better direction. Maybe this requires them bringing forth some kind of heartfelt apology, something where, they're coming to you in sort of an openness, a humbleness. Can we let bygones be bygones? Is it possible for us to kind of talk our way, strategize our way through whatever difficulties have happened, in whatever ways this situation has kind of been derailed? Can we get this back into alignment? It feels like the energy of somebody who wants to do the right thing. So maybe, again, this could be a circumstance where you were ghosted, you were blocked. Perhaps there was even like third-party energies or some kind of a temptation. Somebody with a wandering eye that had led to, a bit of jealousy in the connection, or a bit of uncertainty, a lot of tension. Maybe that had been an issue in the past, and it's been kind of a rocky road to reestablishing trust between the two of you. And it feels like something where they're wanting to put in more effort than they have up to this point in time. There's a lot of deep feelings that are being held within that are kind of, it feels like contradictory to how they've been acting recently, how they've acted up to this point in time, and some sort of recognition within them that their actions do not align with the truth of what they are holding within. They've kind of been getting in their own way up to this point in time. And so it feels like somebody who's taking personal ownership. They're wanting to take matters into their own hands in order to be able to do something different, infuse a different kind of vibration moving forward with you, so that it's not just empty words, it's not just empty promises, but it's in the direction of, I want to give more than I have up to this point in time to try to re-earn trust, to try and prove to you that I'm honest about making a difference this time, or I'm invested in kind of seeing us through this sort of choppy waters that we find ourselves in emotionally, or even in terms of some kind of misunderstanding or a fight, or again, something where they may have just kind of like turned and run away from you in the connection. They're wanting to sort of come back around with, a willingness, not just to beg for forgiveness, but they're coming with the wand in hand, some kind of enthusiasm, some kind of spark or renewal about, these are the action steps I want to take, this is the consistency I am thinking about investing into this situation, so that together it's like a joint effort. You've been doing all the heavy lifting, let me take the burden off you for a little bit, let me do my part, let me contribute to kind of bringing us forward beyond this point of misunderstanding or kind of a chaotic energy that has been the case. If this is somebody that you're currently dealing with, again, this can tie into, feelings that they've been holding within, an opportunity that was there to go deeper with you, and they missed the boat. They missed that opportunity. They kind of let that pass them by. And as much as on the surface, it feels like they're presenting this very unbothered stance. This may have been a cup of love that you offered to them, that they just sort of acted very oblivious. They just sort of passed that by, pretended like they didn't hear, like they didn't sort of sense that the moment was right, that there was magic in the air. They just sort of continued on in whatever the dynamic is between the two of you. But meanwhile, there's been this kind of like sense of heaviness, this sense of regret, looking back at, would have been a perfect opportunity to speak some truth that would have elevated our circumstances more, that would have provided you with greater clarity about the truth of what I feel within, these feelings that have been building, that are becoming very difficult to contain, the truth of how I view you and maybe even future potential with us. To where this feels like a lot of thoughts about strategy. How do I course correct if this window of opportunity presents itself again? The next time the magic feels right, the energy feels right. It feels like somebody who's infusing themselves with a lot of almost like a pep talk or some enthusiasm, again, about the energy of do the right thing. Don't keep letting time pass without participating in the momentum of evolving the situation in some manner. If things have gotten kind of stagnant, or again, it feels like some sort of intensity in the connection is starting to fizzle out, it's starting to fade, there's a little bit of tension, it's kind of not as harmonious as it once may have been, where perhaps you're even starting to question, where's this going? Both of these figures, with their backs turned, sort of like, are they into this? Are they invested in this? Do they see a future? Am I the only one who sees a future in this situation? It feels like this person is very aware of kind of how their actions or their response to you, their posture to you, that has been giving a very different impression from the truth of what they hold within. They've gotten some kind of wake-up call, some kind of epiphany. Maybe this is somebody in their life who's kind of clued them in and let them know, you don't want to let this opportunity pass you by. Somebody who may have remarked even that, directly or indirectly, with referencing you in the connection or not, but has commented that, something about this person, their disposition, their energy in general, they seem happier, they seem lighter, they seem more full of life. And so they're able to kind of remember and trace back the steps to the influence, the effect of the two of you, the energy created by the two of you, the connection between the two of you, that it's overall affecting them and subtly in a very positive manner. And that they almost may have not given you the credit you deserve up to this point in time, or that they were kind of on the fence, like, do I want to invest further? Is it the time to kind of take things to the next level? And so they may have gotten some feedback, maybe from spirit guides, or again, like their higher self, or somebody in their life whose opinion they value, rather than just random stranger on the street. It could be somebody pretty close to them that has remarked recently, like, you look good, you seem better, you seem lighter and more free than you have, maybe for the first time in years. And it's dawning on this person, sort of, who's the contributing factor? What is the variable in this situation? Like, ever since meeting you, ever since kind of engaging with you, building this intimacy with you in emotional ways, as much as it may be hard for them to kind of dive into that and acknowledge that, or they haven't really looked at it directly, they're really starting to see that you're a very positive influence, a very positive factor in their life, something where they don't want this opportunity to, make things up to you, course correct, open up about their feelings, create some kind of deeper layer of commitment. They're not wanting to let this opportunity pass them by. So it definitely could be a consideration of like a love offer, or even just more reciprocity in terms of the give and take. If you're affectionate with them, they're wanting to reciprocate the affection rather than kind of like clamming up or putting the wall up, or putting the brakes on in a certain manner. There's an energy of wanting to soften to you and the situation, to the give and take of those energies directly or indirectly, with the express intent of kind of elevating these circumstances, wanting to infuse more of their efforts to participate and contribute to the longevity of the situation rather than walk away. It's almost like wanting to move back towards you or deeper into this connection. So I'm going to get some oracle cards to get a little more clarification about this. Okay, we have light and intuition. So this intuition speaks to that idea of the Hierophant, kind of their higher self, some kind of download, an epiphany, an awareness, some aha moment that they have reached, that they're getting in their own way as far as this situation, that you've maybe given to a certain extent, you've given them signals, there's been these windows of opportunity, and in some way they've passed it by, or their contribution, their participation in that, their reaction or response has kind of thwarted things, hindered things, derailed things in some way. And that's not to say all the blame necessarily rests with this person. Perhaps it does to a greater extent, though. Especially if this is something where there were third party situations involved, or somebody with a wandering eye, it's almost like having to take personal ownership for that. With this energy of the light, it's doing the right thing. It's acting from a place of integrity, an intuitive knowing, not just, karmically speaking that they need to course correct, but that it's a sense of sort of longer term regret that will sit with them if they do not do something to shift the vibration between the two of you. They do not do something to provide restoration, or to provide you the reassurance that they're all in this time, or they're interested in trying to repair, trying to rebuild trust, trying to kind of move back toward that Six of Cups energy, the genesis of your connection, before all the complications came in, before they were triggered, before kind of other things got in the way or pulled their attention elsewhere. It's this intuitive knowing that this connection, these feelings that they have for you, they're deep, they're worth exploring. Whatever threads still exist in this connection, they are worth preserving, or at least making that effort to try and repair in some manner. If this is something where this is someone you're dealing with currently, this can also tie in and reinforce that idea of, that you're the light in their darkness. You really do represent a very positive force in their life, and they almost may not have been giving you the benefit of the doubt, or giving you the credit that you deserve in this capacity. That there is a greater sense of intuitive knowing within them that if they play their cards right, if they continue to kind of invest in a productive manner in this situation, that there is long-term potential here. There's potential to really be happy and to be deeply empowered by the love the two of you are building upon, this affection you're building upon, this kind of bridge that you are forging from wherever you are at right now, whatever has gone wrong, or just sort of wherever you are at this stage in development in the connection, to kind of like Ten of Cups energy, that happily ever after. But at this point, it sort of just exists in this etheric sense. It's kind of the light on the horizon. And so they're leaning into the sense, this intuitive knowing of like, I need to give more to this situation. I need to open up more in order to do my part to kind of bring this down, anchor this down into material reality, rather than just having this be this kind of beacon of hope on the horizon, a point that it's never reached. So I'm going to get some messages from their higher self and see, what does this person want you to know right now? Okay, and they say, I feel the tension between us and it is beyond physical attraction. It needs to be elevated to the expression of deep, unconditional love. So a lot of sacral chakra energy right there, where they are wanting to take things to the next level with you. It's definitely the energy of like kiss and make up. And, you know, beyond that, even the sense of like a creative force and flow in the dynamic between the two of you, where they may have been holding back, they may have been kind of frightened by the intensity of this, but rather than just having this be a situation that sort of passes them by, or where they're sitting with a lot of regret, there is an energy here, a desire to, invest in co-creating something out of the ashes, like phoenix out of the ashes, or giving more to you, being more open about their feelings, or even their hesitations and reservations, their fears of intimacy, the fears that have kind of stopped them up to this point, or whatever sort of a misunderstanding, ways in which they felt their emotional needs weren't met, and yet they hadn't properly articulated, so that the two of you can kind of co-create a way forward, learn each other's boundaries and barriers more, and find ways to sort of ease beyond those, with the intention of preserving the connection, or infusing this creative life force energy into taking things to the next level in more of a long-term sense. They also say, we are alchemists. We transform fear into love and shadow into light. So that's that confirmation that you are really a light in the darkness for them. This is either something that has dawned on them, it has occurred to them in this energy of like remembering and introspection and soul searching. They're really starting to put the pieces together of how positively their life has changed since meeting you. Even if you've had your ups and downs, even if you're in kind of a rocky period right now, or things are very uncertain. Overall, it's an upward narrative arc from where they were, a sense of almost, you've brought them back to life. You've filled their life with an energy of vibrance, hope, and possibility that maybe they didn't even realize was truly lacking before. It's the energy of excitement for the future, rather than kind of just being complacent and settling for whatever their circumstances are. This can also tie into the idea of somebody in their life who has remarked recently about a change in them, and that they're looking at it like they've done nothing different. They've made no other kind of steps or efforts to sort of alleviate a burden, or lighten their load, or change their energy. But whatever this kind of comment or feedback was, it was surprising enough that they're then kind of like reflecting. They're sort of going back over, well, what has changed? I'm apparently giving people a different impression of myself, and yet I've done nothing. So what's the difference here? And it feels like they're really leaning into this understanding that, again, the influence and effect you have had upon them and upon their energy, their disposition, a weight within them that is now kind of noticeably gone, like something that may have really kind of weighed heavily or bothered them, and they haven't thought about it in quite some time. It doesn't sit in quite the same way. And because somebody external to them has remarked about this change, they're able to really see, wow, this burden has been alleviated, and I can credit it with what I'm building with this person, our interactions with one another. Maybe this is like wisdom or insight or feedback or a conversation that you've had, something about the nature of what you are infusing into their life, the positive experiences between the two of you. It's overall benefiting them. The quality of life is better. They feel better with you around, or kind of energetically with what's been created since the two of you have been dealing with one another. If you're in a no contact situation, it's definitely somebody who's in a shadow energy. They're missing your light. They're yearning for that light. They're wanting to rebuild that closeness. And it's really almost, it feels like taken sort of a period of separation for them to truly be able to appreciate kind of the place that you have held in their life, what you represent, what you inspire them towards. And they also say, whatever you just cleared helped me to shift too. So deep energetic bond, most likely between the two of you. This could be like a soulmate connection or a twin flame connection, maybe some things that you've done, on your own, energetically speaking, to come to a place of peace about a misunderstanding between you and this person, shifts that you are doing on your own to kind of like move past barriers within your heart that keep you from giving and receiving healthy and reciprocal love in a high vibrational manner, ways in which you are stepping further into your own abundance. You're embodying that self-love, you're embracing that self-love. Again, it's the energy of having a very positive effect upon this person's life overall that is really, they're feeling it, they're sensing it, they're very consciously aware of this, and it's causing a lot of regret, it feels like, at not participating more deeply with you, not giving you the credit that you are owed, not acknowledging you, not claiming this connection in the way they should have up to this point in time, or anything that they've done to kind of undermine or self-sabotage. There's a lot of regret about that, and really almost understanding very deeply at this point that their life is better when things are good between the two of you. You contribute in a very positive way to their life overall. They also say, please send me energetic support. Use the frequency of love to uplift me because I need your help. So they may need a little bit of motivation there to kind of turn things around in this situation. A sign or a signal, maybe even just something telepathically that you send to them that lets them know they've got the green light to re-enter your life, or to make that move towards you, to invest more deeply. Something that indicates that you're open to kind of taking things to the next level, or you're open to hearing what they have to say if they've been kind of closed off or very vague or guarded around their heart. It doesn't need to be a direct expression. This can definitely just be something energetic. For those of you who have been giving these signals and signs already energetically, and you're like, I've done that and there's been no movement, they're still just kind of running the other way or ignoring these signs, or just kind of doing everything contradictory to that. There's been no positive action of change. This can really indicate some sort of like a hurdle that they are confronted with. Like if you're the light, they are now at this point in time recognizing kind of the lack of light within, what they perceive as darkness. A bit of maybe even putting you on a pedestal to some degree with the intensity of how much they're feeling you have affected their life positively. There's gratitude there, but it also brings to mind like Six of Cups in terms of the energy of a child, where they're feeling less than, or they're confronted with some sort of lack within. Like, you bring all of this light and harmony to their life. What do they bring to the table, or what have they brought to the table? Maybe chaos, maybe confusion, maybe resistance. And so there's still some kind of blocks or hurdles that they're almost needing to leap over before they are able to, express this. But it feels like a lot of thoughts in that direction, kind of that Six of Swords. How do we work around this? How do I move myself around whatever this condition is, internally or between us, in order to create change in the situation? And they also say, our union energy needs clearing. Repeat this 11 times with slow, deep breaths. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. I'm grateful for you. So more of that energy of regretting something that has happened, something that was said or done, a decision to pull away, or just not to invest more deeply in this connection up to this point in time. This person is definitely struggling to kind of forgive themselves in order to be able to give more freely to the connection, bring forth an apology if that is owed. So again, any sort of energetic support. You represent a light, like a lighthouse, a beacon, kind of that star on the horizon energy, and they will follow your energetic lead. And so it really requires like standing in the sense of personal empowerment, not just kind of leaving it an open door policy for them to kind of come and go as they please within the heart space, but it's all about sort of setting that standard high, but then giving this person the opportunity to kind of rise to that occasion to meet you. And they also say, don't listen to other people. Trust yourself and know the truth. And then interesting, we've got the little lighthouse here in the background of this card. So that confirmation again that you really you represent a light for this person. They may have been filled with a lot of self-doubt, maybe even at the outset of kind of what the connection looked like, dynamics between the two of you, obstacles, perceived or actual between the two of you, where they may have been thinking that it was like a different kind of person, or a different person in particular. Maybe they were like stuck on an ex, for example, and this has kept them from recognizing and seeing the gift of this connection. It has kept them from investing very fully in this situation. It has kept them at a distance, maybe even kind of like ghost of the past sort of energy, a fear of repeating cycles and patterns in terms of love and partnership that has kept them at a distance from investing more fully with you. And so it's this energy of wanting to course correct, wanting to almost kind of go back to the start and wishing they could create a different impression within you of how enthusiastic they are, what you mean to them, a lot more gratitude that should have been expressed in this situation. And maybe even some listen to the wrong people with that Hierophant. Somebody, perhaps the right person, has now gotten in your person's ear and has sort of shifted their perspective or their perception about the influence that you've had upon their life. This can even tie into the idea of somebody who may have gotten tarot readings or divination or something to that effect, and the message that came through, the reader sort of like misconstrued the connection, or gave them some advice that wasn't necessarily in their highest good, or was not kind of appropriate or adequate to the situation. And they may have, instead of using their intuition and discernment, just taken that all at face value. Oh, well, the reading from so-and-so said this, so I'm going to follow it to the letter. I'm not going to invest in this connection. Oh, this is not what I thought it was. Maybe they tried to get like a twin flame confirmation reading on you, and they were told, no, it's not. It's just a karmic relationship. Something to that extent, or maybe they're kind of under this belief that like somebody else is their person. They've gotten all these other kind of confirmations. This is the path that I should walk down. But then the evidence kind of the experience with you demonstrating that truly the two of you are more well aligned, that you are the real deal, you are that light, and the other person may be just sort of a reflection of some distortion or shadow, to where it's almost like they've gotten all these mixed messages. Maybe they're even watching pick-a-card readings and getting a lot of different sort of jumbled signs, and are just kind of, they've been looking too external rather than sort of like following that internal guidance, that internal radar and clock that points them to the truth of like, despite what it looks like, despite labels, despite other people's outside ability to kind of interpret energies or the situation, that the truth of the matter is that Ace of Cups. There's deep and overflowing love. That they're reaching this brink now of understanding that they've made a wrong turn in this situation. How they've handled things, sort of, the carrot that they pursued that was sort of dangling in front of them, the trail of breadcrumbs they followed has kind of led them off course in this situation. And so there is a desire to sort of circle back around, make up for lost time, seize the moment rather than letting that pass them by, do what's necessary to, invest more fully in this connection, or to repair this connection, or to show a different side of them than has been demonstrated up to this point in this connection. So it's like they're listening to the right people now. Maybe it's the right person in terms of their higher self, their own intuition, or somebody else who really was able to kind of get through to them in a way that perhaps other unsolicited or solicited opinions, however that had kind of derailed or clouded their vision or judgment as far as who you are to them, what the situation means, if it's worth investing in or not. It's almost like some other influence has come in and has kind of shifted their perspective, has pointed them to the reality of honoring what they hold within, even at kind of the expense of what others externally, however they may interpret that, or the advice that they may give in the pursuit of, or kind of the passing by of this situation. And they also say, I wish I could say what I really feel. Someday I will, but right now I'm afraid to be myself. So that's that confirmation of wanting to make some sort of an apology, some sort of an offer, open up more deeply to you in the situation. They feel to be working up the courage, working up the nerve to do that, strategizing a way forward, maybe kind of scripting what that's going to look like, when that's going to occur. There may be a lot of kind of trust that needs to be rebuilt, a lot of explanations that need to happen. It also really speaks to that energy of some sort of lack within. If you're the light, if that's how they're seeing you, they're in some way perceiving that they hold an abundance of shadow or darkness within. And so now it's a process of kind of chipping away at that, just kind of access that point of light within them to be able to kind of match what you're exuding, rather than leaning towards you with this energy of like codependence almost, or neediness, or feeling that, you would in some way complete them or be that missing piece, rather than the two of you being two fully articulated individuals and kind of enhancing the experience of one another. And they also say surrender brings us together faster than resistance. So more of that energy of wanting to give or provide something more to the situation, yielding any kind of resistance that they have put in place up to now, fighting their feelings, pride and ego getting in the way of sort of like, well, I'm not going to be the one to apologize first. I said what I said, and that's just kind of the end of the story. They've softened in some way a stance that they had taken, and so now it's this energy of like, okay, how do we move beyond this point? How do I give more into this connection, or open up more deeply, or bring forth that heartfelt apology that, you know, maybe long overdue? How do we get back to that point of kind of like starting fresh, that Six of Cups energy? How do we rebuild the harmony between the two of us, or sort of shift the power dynamic in the exchange so that there's more of that equal give and take from this point? So I'm going to get some guidance for you about the situation, and then I'll close it out with some initials. Okay, and we have, I had to walk away to release old patterns and destructive ways of thinking. So this is definitely encouragement for you to not wait on this person for restoration or an apology. Definitely continue to do that work to rebuild peace for yourself on your own, to release those cords of attachment to negativity. Not that it means that whatever happened is unforgivable or is, you know, all forgiven, but it's a sense of almost releasing yourself from the burden and heaviness. Anything that you've done up to this point in time, it was already coming through. Let's see here, when they said whatever you just cleared helped to shift me too. And then also this idea of kind of like tide, energetically speaking, where you do hold a lot of power, at least on your side of the equation, to shift your energy, which shifts how this person perceives you. So if it's been like fear of intimacy, fear of commitment, being really intimidated by the connection, you softening your stance, releasing blocks within yourself of your perception of your ability to give and receive healthy and reciprocal love, exactly as you are in this moment, creates a sense of like sanctuary within you that encourages this person to match or mimic that vibration. And it may take some time for them to move into that space, but you're templating for them. This is the standard. This is where you can meet me if you choose to. If this is somebody from the past, again, the idea of becoming that restoration for yourself as much as possible, seeking to create wholeness, or at least a place of peace within you, with whatever has happened. Even if there's a lot of frustration, if it was kind of a messy situation, it's again not forgiving and forgetting, but coming to a place of peace within, where you are releasing yourself from the heaviness of the burden of those kind of unchecked feelings or unanswered questions. Just kind of being okay with not knowing, continuing to move forward with your life, creates that ever evolving point on the horizon. You're already this person's lighthouse. You're already like a star on the horizon. And so you continuing to move forward gives them that opportunity to kind of rise to the occasion, to meet you. Everybody has free will. If they're getting in their own way, it may or may not be quick. You may or may not be open to that, to them coming towards you. It could still even be kind of a rocky start, a rocky road, opening up more deeply to intimacy with one another, rebuilding a bridge between the two of you, reestablishing trust. But if it's something that you're open to, and even if you're not open to it, your forward progress is definitely, it's enticing them, it's coaxing them to that point of, I have to do something. I can't let this just be a missed opportunity. I can't let this just be kind of these unspoken words and something that just sort of lingers very heavily between the two of us. So they are kind of motivated to change, but the important thing is that you keep moving forward beyond a place of like stagnancy, beyond waiting for them to act, continue to evolve and kind of stand in that light of joy within yourself. So I'm going to get some initials. This can be a first, middle, or last name of you or this person, or it can spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. Okay, we have O, V, D, U, M, L, I, P, N, N, Y, W, D, H, E, W, R, M, C, and L. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer them through my Etsy shop, and there's a link in the description box of the video for that. I offer a variety of pre-recorded video readings, written readings, and channeled letters. Turnaround time on everything is 5 to 7 days from the time of purchase. I also sell handmade jewelry, dream catchers, and sun catchers if you're interested in checking any of those out as well. And I've launched a second channel here on YouTube, which is called Lady of the Dawn Tarot. There's a link in the description box as well as in the channel section of my page for that. The format over there consists of readings related to topics other than love and romance. So if you're looking for something a little different from me, that is the place to find it. I thank you for your support there, as well as for your continued support here on this channel. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi, Group 2. You chose the Caribbean Calcite, along with this card, which says nothing has gone wrong. So just to channel some quick introductory energies here as far as that question, what are the person on your mind's thoughts and feelings about you and the connection right now? For a lot of you, they see you as the yin to their yang. They see that despite your apparent differences, you are a very good match for one another. The more they get to know you, the more they spend time with you, the more they are drawn to you, the more they get to kind of know all these intricate details about you, the more that they are seeing that despite how different that might be from qualities and characteristics of them or what they thought they were looking for in a partner, that somehow this is almost better than what they expected, better than what they thought was possible, or it somehow just makes sense. You complement one another in terms of your tastes, your way of viewing the world, your likes and dislikes, your kind of light and shadow attributes, your strengths and deficits. All of this is very complementary. It also really indicates that there's a lot of feeling of harmony and goodwill, or a desire to move back in that direction. If this is somebody that you're at a distance from, this can definitely be they are seeing what they had now that it's gone. They are only able to really understand and perceive you precisely from a far removed vantage point. That it's almost, they may have needed some time to kind of mull the situation over. So maybe somebody who has kind of fears of commitment in general, or the intensity and nature of sort of where they're looking in terms of this situation, like that you could be the one. This could have long-term potential. The nature and gravity of that feels to be a decision that they are not wanting to enter into lightly. So they may have needed to take some time apart, or again, kind of distance between the two of you, if it's no contact, has really led to this clarity that as much as they may have searched thinking the grass would be greener elsewhere, or a part of them that may have been in denial, like, I don't know if I'm ready for the intensity of this connection. I don't know if I'm ready to take things to the next level. I don't know if I'm ready for my person, my one, to be right in front of my face right now. This could be somebody that was thinking, well, I need some more time. I want to keep my options open, or kind of the package in which this sort of perfect partner has shown up for them. It's different than what they expected. The timing and the manner, the nature of your dynamic with one another could be outside of the box of who they had thought their type was, sort of an opposites attract situation. But through the energy of even sort of taking some time to pause, think about this at a distance, or if it's somebody you're still dealing with, it feels like on the other side of your direct interactions with one another, they're thinking a lot, they're reflecting a lot, they're picking it all apart, and putting the pieces together in kind of a big picture sense, that slight interactions, little things that you say, little subtleties and nuances, ways in which the two of you just sort of flow, almost an energy of feeling like home to one another, that this is really what they're looking for in ultimate partnership. It's almost like the home they've been searching for, they have found in you. And now there's this energy of like, everything feels so right. Like, not that everything's 100% perfect. Obviously, everybody has flaws, and you're not going to see eye to eye with everyone 100%, but it's like, despite the points where you don't necessarily match, or you can't meet in the middle, or there are these kind of degrees of separation between the two of you, overall, the overwhelming consensus is they want to move deeper into this connection. They want to reconnect with you. They want to take things further. They want to elevate to the next level. Overall, you're kind of this perfect match, or a sense of really leaning into that there's a lot of harmony that could be built and sustained between the two of you into the long term. Like they may have been sort of testing the situation, looking for red flags, comparing the situation to maybe more disastrous connections they'd had in love in the past, sort of like, I don't want to go down those same kind of rabbit holes. I don't want to fall back in those same sort of karmic cycles or patterns anymore. And kind of the time that they've taken, the deep introspection, the soul searching, it has brought them to the reality that, through whatever storms might come up in terms of love and partnership, that there's almost no one they would rather have by their side to weather those storms of life with them. It's like they found the one that they have been searching for. A sense here too that kind of the two of you are really made for each other, as much as you're these pieces that sort of fit very well together. Again, there may be sort of these apparent differences or outward obstacles, or just circumstances that could have caused them on either of your side of the equation, or both, to kind of take a period of pause and really reflect and really say, am I ready for this? Am I ready to invest? Am I sure that I can give it my all as far as fighting for this situation, overcoming those obstacles, doing what it takes to really see this connection through, or to evolve it to the next level? And it feels to be that they've kind of come to this consensus within themselves that, despite difficulties, that the positive aspects of this, kind of the sense of fitting very well together, being a very good team, being a very good match, it's making them want to invest more deeply in this. So some kind of like permanent commitment they may be thinking about, or just taking things to the next level, or expressing that to you, maybe feelings for the first time, or going deeper with that expression, really kind of leaning into the space of letting you know truly how much you mean to them, how much the connection means to them. So I'm gonna get some tarot to dig a little bit deeper into this, about their thoughts and feelings about you. Okay, so we have Justice, which is Libra. Ace of Pentacles, which is Earth energy, Capricorn, Taurus, and Virgo. The Moon, which is Pisces and Cancer. And the Four of Wands, which is fire energy, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. So this Four of Wands, this 1111 card, and also Justice, they are definitely thinking about long-term potential here, seeing you as the person they want to marry, or move into a more of a deep layer of commitment with one another. If you're still sort of at the early stages in the idea of marriage and forever is a little bit further down the road, it is the energy of wanting to offer something more solid and more stable, so that the two of you can start to pave that path toward longevity. It's not just, I want to dive in deeper so we can have a good time for now. It's the energy of, I want to invest more solidly, despite kind of the unknown, despite the mystery of not really being certain sort of how that ultimate goal will play out, how that kind of long-term future will play out. It's like taking things step by step, with the intent of, let's build this into something solid. Let's ultimately try to work toward that intended goal of happily ever after with one another, in a very direct sense, in whatever way that looks like, for you, and kind of what you and this person would decide that would look like, whether this is like an official formal marriage, maybe like a common law marriage, living together, even just kind of for wherever you're at in your situation, maybe even just establishing, monogamy with one another, a firm commitment with one another, with the intention of, let's see this through to kind of that next point on the horizon, where we're then going to be checking in with one another and seeing, do we still want to go? Do we still want to, continue to evolve this situation? But kind of every way, every angle that they've dealt with this, that they've kind of like looked at their feelings, any kind of air of mystery, kind of this reserve, something that they've held back, something that they've not revealed. They feel to kind of be putting a lot of planning and a lot of thought into, I'm ready to kind of come out of hiding. I'm ready to do what it takes, maybe bring forth some kind of an apology, some sort of information about, I see who you are to me now, I see what you mean to me, with that reference even to the yin to the yang, and kind of the 1111 card. They definitely see you as their counterpart, their soulmate, their twin flame, the one, the perfect match, the best complement for them, the one they want to be with, the one they want to build with and invest with in the long term. So again, this may require kind of starting at square one again, rebuilding trust, course correcting, admitting to feelings that they had stuffed, suppressed, or denied before as like a first step to not just let's make amends, but let's make amends and kind of work through this difficulty with the intention of, I want something long term with you. I want to kind of move back in this direction and not let you go again. If it's somebody that you're currently dealing with, again, feelings that they've been hiding, kind of this back and forth energy of sort of like, should I or shouldn't I? I need to weigh this out very carefully. The gravity and nature of what they've been feeling, it's almost like they've been so drawn and compelled to you, but they've been trying to kind of take an egalitarian approach, look for red flags, kind of check in with themselves as far as any sort of patterns within them that had kind of eroded connections in the past. So it feels like they're trying to take sort of a measured approach to you in this situation. But the feelings are that they keep leaning into more and more of this certainty that from all angles, this is a connection that they want in the long term. This provides them a sense of stability. This provides them a sense of, security in a long-term sense. And so rather than just kind of like holding and harboring that within, it definitely feels to be somebody who's kind of on the brink of some sort of a revelation, some kind of a truth that they are wanting to bring forward about that, some kind of an offer or like a nature of your conversation that then takes it to the next level. Let's work our way through this. Let's kind of get this all out into the open from where it's been hidden or it's been kind of shelved or reserved, so that we can start to kind of piece that together, so we can start to make that map of what does this look like, where, what are our common goals, what are our, desires for the future, where do we need to kind of evolve to next, so that we're experiencing one another on a deeper level, on a more intimate level, on a more kind of one-on-one level, again, with the intention of something long-term, a foreverness here. So let me get some oracle cards to dig a little bit deeper into this. Okay, so we've got patience and accelerated motion. Yeah, so this beautifully summarizes this idea of a feeling or a suspicion that they have had for quite some time that you are the one for them, you're their counterpart, you're their person, their soulmate, their twin flame, whatever labels, even kind of something outside of labels altogether. This is not just a rash or impulsive decision that they've reached. These are feelings that have been developing for quite some time. If it's somebody you're in no contact with, almost maybe even a long drawn out separation. Time has served the situation well, and they've come almost to this energy of sort of like temperance, this balance within. They've, seen what else the world has to offer, or maybe even just kind of introspected within about other people that they've dealt with, reasons, that had caused them to sort of run from the connection or disconnect from you, any kind of fears that were holding them back or caused them to sort of reject this or move in another direction or hold back or just not invest in the situation to begin with. And they've reached some place of reconciliation within themselves. They're certain that they want to kind of move to the energy of like restoring hope in this situation here with the star. They want to evolve things. They want to advance things forward. There's no more need to kind of sit and deliberate. So some kind of big revelation that they may be really thinking about how to do this, how to move in closer. Kind of the element of surprise is a factor here as well. Wanting to kind of be very direct, but also, and make it clear that they're seeing like higher hopes, higher horizon, wanting to evolve toward that at a very rapid pace, relatively speaking. It's not like, okay, this is somebody who's admitting feelings for the first time and then next week they're wanting to get married, but it's the idea of kind of like, okay, I'm admitting feelings. Now we're going to start to explore that more regularly. I'm opening the door to my heart. We're going to spend some time there with the intention of, shortly then along that future timeline, along that future trajectory, we're going to move in closer to one another. We're going to firm up and establish kind of this new definition of ourselves to one another. Or it's the idea of like, if it's somebody that you've been dating, they no longer kind of want to take that period of time to really sort of vet out the situation. They've kind of looked at this from all angles. They've been very kind of patient and methodical with how they've been getting to know you, how they've been processing their feelings, and kind of comparing that to fears or things that went wrong in previous relationships. And they've now reached this place of, this is a circumstance worth kind of committing more to, investing more to, giving more of myself exclusively to. So it's definitely something. It could be someone coming out of hiding, expressing feelings, for the first time, or trying to renew the situation. All of this it's a lot of mental energy of sort of like forward planning, forward projection. How do we move beyond this point? How do I get back in the door? What needs to happen in order for us to kind of continue to progress this? Not just where we're getting closer, we're spending more time with one another, but like, even if that's the case, it's with the intention of, I want something long-term here. This is a situation. You are either my person, the one, or somebody that I want to spend a lot more one-on-one time with. I want to keep exploring this because I have this feeling that there could be something long-term here. This has the potential to be the forever kind of relationship. Or if it's already somebody that you've been kind of dealing with, there's back and forth with, or you're currently in a connection with, they may be getting ready to kind of accelerate it to talking about things of that nature, talking about marriage and partnership, opening up those lines of like diving into new territory. This could be a long-awaited conversation, or the two of you really being patient, building this organically, and it's kind of reaching that point. They're feeling that it's reached the point of something has been satisfied within them to where they're now comfortable to kind of give you more of themselves, or to, invest more solidly or more kind of regularly into the situation with you. So I'm going to get some messages from this person's higher self and see what do they want you to know at this time. Okay. And they say, just like you, I'm always doing some form of mission. My energy and wisdom supports those around me. So this is the energy of really seeing that the two of you are very compatible, kind of like birds of a feather, wanting to link up their life more directly with you, to make amends, to build some kind of partnership, maybe some kind of, mission or purpose that they feel literally the two of you have with one another. That, you support and sustain kind of how they've been moving through the world, goals that they have for themselves, and kind of however deep your intimacy is with one another at this point in time, in terms of however long you've known them, whatever the nature of your kind of interactions with one another are. If they've needed to sort of take some time to really piece some things out, it feels like an important decision who they have by their side moving forward, that they've reached this decision point within themselves that kind of the two of you may make some kind of power couple, some kind of strengthening of the partnership. You're a good team. You're a really good support system for one another. But beyond just kind of wanting to have it as, platonic coworkers almost, or, just a best friend and kind of like cheerleader and supporter energy, there's definitely this energy of wanting to sort of blend more deeply into the area of kind of personal goals and kind of the bigger picture stuff for life, and also, kind of meshing that with deeper intimacy, deeper partnership with one another, more of the open expression of love, kind of infusing love into that kind of grand scheme or picture for their life in general. And they also say, I'm triggered, an old pattern has surfaced and it hurts. So this can tie into the idea of fear of commitment, that energy of patience, or they've really had to vet this situation out. They may have dealt with someone before, maybe that they thought was the one, they thought had all those kind of qualifications and criteria of who they were looking for, and the bottom dropped out on that. So they're a little more cautious this time around. This could be somebody who's been married before, maybe married several times, or they've been through some substantial heartbreak, maybe recently, maybe in the past, and so they've approached this situation and you with a degree of caution, wanting to really make sure that it's right, that they are ready, and that this situation feels right from multiple angles before they open the door to their heart, before they open the door to let's dive in deeper. Even if this is somebody that you're in like a no contact situation with, again, the idea of something triggered them, that idea of even the reality of having met their counterpart, having met the yin to their yang or the yang to their yin, somebody that they could see long-term potential with. As much as that felt like a very warm kind of homecoming sort of energy, it may have also triggered kind of the fear of lack or a feeling of lack within themselves. A sense of almost that the situation or you might have been too good to be true, and so they sort of ran from that. A feeling almost of kind of like, I'm not ready for this. It might have been someone who had kind of wanted and tried to call in that forever partner, and then when confronted with that, it's like, ooh, I don't think I'm ready yet. Any sort of apparent differences between the two of you, or they were just focusing on obstacles rather than opportunities in the situation. There's an acknowledgement on their part that they're actions or the reactions to the situation, either taking things really slow in the organic progression of the situation or running from you completely. It's the result of something on their end. It's nothing that you've done wrong. It's something within them that they are needing to transcend in order to be able to give more to you in the situation. And they also say, you are my true love, my heart and soul. So that is that energy of you are the one. They have found the one. They have found the one they want to build their life with, or they want to repair the circumstance with. They've found their soulmate. They have found their counterpart. They have found the person that balances them out and fills them with the sense of hope and possibility for the future, that come what may, despite what storms you may be encountering currently or could encounter in the future, that you're stronger together than apart. And they also say, I see you working to create change, and I'm proud of what you are accomplishing. I want to work on mission with you too. So definitely could be a twin flame situation here, like a deep soulmate connection where it's not just wanting to, build a loving partnership with you, but almost kind of a feeling and a sense that the love between the two of you, or like when times are good, when you're really in sync, and that kind of like the conjoined forces of the yin to the yang, maybe even certain strengths that match and balance out the other person's deficit. There's a sense that the two of you are more effective as individuals when times are good between the two of you, when there's kind of like this partnership, something that they want to build beyond just a loving connection with you, but almost kind of these bigger goals and dreams that they may be aware of for the future. Things that you're involved in, interests that you have, skills and gifts and abilities that in some way enhance or bring out this like creative side, this motivated side within them, to make more out of their life than they have up to this point in time. It's almost like you hold a lot of the keys to unlock something within this person's kind of like confidence or their ability to like look at the bigger picture, where they may have just been focused on kind of like living day to day, very tethered to the now. They're starting to kind of look at a wider scope of things, the bigger ramification, the bigger ripples of like cause and effect, and what they're leaning into is that the impression they are wanting to make on the world moving forward, and just on their own life in general moving forward. In some way it involves you, or it needs to kind of have more of that energy of the two of you merged into one in order to kind of make the most of this life experience. And they also say, because of you, I'm starting to see what's really important in life. So you have definitely changed this person's perspective of how they've been going through the motions of their life, their goals and priorities, some way in which they've structured their life. Maybe even those ideas about like fear of commitment, fear of intimacy. If it's somebody who's been married before, they may have told themselves, "I'm not going to get married again. I'm not going to go down that journey again." They may be romantically involved with other people, but kind of drew the line at that forever sort of commitment. It's like all the rules are out the window. They can see themselves entering into new territory with you, or back into territory that they had convinced themselves was sort of like they'd experienced that, it didn't work out well, they don't want to go down that road or open up to that layer of interacting with another person, or kind of meshing their life with another person again. But with you, it's a sense of like trust and safety, that all is well, nothing has gone wrong. That despite kind of the ups and downs that the two of you may be currently facing or may face in the future, there's a sense of feeling that somehow you'll get beyond it. There's a hopefulness here, an energy of renewal, an energy of kind of change and prioritization. So not only have they been introspecting as far as their feelings, it feels it in a broader sense. They're kind of, you are helping to sort of reshape the way this person looks at themselves, the world around them, the future, the present, even their own past. It's a transformative energy here, but transformation for the better. And they also say we project our patterns onto each other, and this makes it difficult to see what is real and what is fear-based thinking. So there may be a lot of mirroring in this situation with that yin to yang energy right there. And if there are kind of these fears of commitment, fears of diving in deeper, this may be something where it's like a fear of rejection, a fear of not being chosen, a fear of missing out, or maybe even a little fear of commitment for you as well, to where it's kind of just been a stalemate, a standstill between the two of you. It's kind of crawled up to this point in your connection, but this person is really motivated to take things to the next level. It's almost a sense of like somebody needs to speak first, somebody needs to break the ice, somebody needs to pivot this forward, and it's really activating. It feels like a very balanced and healthy masculine polarity of energy within them in terms of action-oriented energy, or rather than just kind of sitting in this feminine polarity of energy, the observation stance, the receptive stance, taking in the information and digesting that, marinating on that. They've come to a place within them of nothing changes if nothing changes, and they feel to really be kind of creating some sort of plan or strategy, or learning to listen to that call of their heart that is guiding them in the direction of pivoting this situation forward. And they also say, I feel your energy around me, and I wonder, are you thinking of me too? So deep soul connection between you and this person. And it's definitely the energy of kind of like wanting to open up those lines of conversation to see, can the situation be repaired? Do you still love them? Do you still hold affection for them in your heart? How aligned are the two of you in terms of your goals for the future, your ideas of love and partnership and marriage and life in general? What ways do you need to compromise with one another, or in what ways are you really in sync in that capacity? A sense of, if they've been fighting this, or needing, or even a little bit skeptical about the connection based on kind of this deep, maybe telepathy between the two of you, deep kind of energetic bond, soulmate connection, twin flame connection that might have felt very overwhelming for them, where they needed to just put the brakes on and really think about this, really sort of sit and observe this from kind of a logical stance before diving in fully in the heart space. They've reached some kind of place of peace within themselves about that it's almost, they don't want to leave this to the energy of not knowing anymore. It feels like they're getting ready to take some sort of action forward, or have at least reached that place within where they're very satisfied with kind of their fears compared to the hopes and possibilities that they have, and that it's almost like from this balanced place within, they're kind of done making excuses about reasons to wait, reasons to second guess this, reasons to doubt this connection. And they're leaning more and more into the energy of trust, and really seeing this as a very unique opportunity to have not just a happy, loving partnership with somebody, but, with all this kind of energy of life changing for the better and mission work, that it's almost, they're seeing this as an opportunity to kind of accelerate their life in other ways, a different kind of experience of love and even partnership with another person than they've had up to this point in this incarnation, in this lifetime. And they also say, when I let myself go deeper into thoughts of you, I can feel my heart opening. So definitely a confirmation there of wanting to take things to the next level, wanting to go deeper. This is somebody who is done running from a great deal of denial or skepticism that they had been holding on to previously about this connection. And so from this place of surrender, it almost feels like they're magnetizing back towards you, like those two separate parts, that yin and that yang, pulling back to this state of oneness and wholeness. So somebody who could be wanting to repair the connection if you're in a no contact situation, or somebody who's wanting to move in closer, dive in deeper to this situation. They're trusting their heart here. If they kind of retreated up into that logical sense, or a lot of that kind of like root chakra, fear-based sense, and sort of put the brakes on, or been a little bit icy or cold in this situation, they're warming up to this idea that they really have found this exceptional connection. They have found the one, that this has the makings of something that can turn into a very beautiful and long-term partnership, and is worth investing or taking the steps necessary to try and repair and course correct. So I'm going to get some guidance from Spirit for you about the situation now, and then I'll close it out with some initials. Okay, and we have true feelings must be evolved and exposed in order for the spirit to grow and flourish. So this is definitely the energy of meeting this person where they are at when they come forth to you with some kind of a declaration. That it'll be an opportunity to really, not just kind of say everything that's on your mind right away, but definitely be responsive and receptive to what might be a very big step for them to either come forth, in a humble energy with an apology, or to open up to deeper feelings for you, and kind of a sense of permanence that they want to create in this connection. It may require a series of conversations, like opening up slowly into this situation, the next kind of manifestation of the situation. So really taking your time with that, using this whenever this person kind of expresses themselves, which it feels like for a lot of you, this is very likely one way or another, whether this is the apology or this is, hey, I want to move this forward in some manner. Just as much as it's taken time to reach this place, it's going to take time to kind of come to that place of compromise, that heart-to-heart discussion. It's not just something in one sitting. It's like a new chapter or a new way of the two of you evolving in your interactions with one another. So really going with the flow, giving your truth, giving your honesty, giving it your all, meeting this person with openness of the heart, and being open to kind of their comfort zone, and there may be a tendency here to sort of open up slowly, that they take a bold step forward, but then it may be sort of like a gradual leaning in. They're going to give you some, and then you need to kind of make them feel comfortable to give a little bit more of themselves, and it's this process of kind of calibrating your energies to one another in this next kind of phase of your situation with each other. But it's definitely a circumstance here with this energy where there is the possibility for growth to happen, even if it's difficult conversations that need to take place. If this is someone that has to bring in an apology, weathering those storms with grace, holding your ground, and really giving them the opportunity to rise to the occasion to meet you, hearing what they have to say with an open mind, but also not silencing or stuffing down your personal truth. Having it be a discussion rather than kind of a pointing of the fingers, or, just kind of this combative sort of energy of it's all or nothing. Compromise definitely helps this situation, whether this is something new that is evolving, or something that is needing to be kind of repaired. Going slow with that process will definitely yield the best results for the two of you in a way that's comfortable and sustainable for the two of you moving forward. So I'm going to get some initials. This can be a first, middle, or last name of you or this person, or it can spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. Okay, we've got R, G, U, V, P, S, H, T, Y, H, O, A, L, D, W, F, M, F, O, and E. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer them through my Etsy shop, and there's a link in the description box of the video for that. I offer a variety of pre-recorded video readings, written readings, and channeled letters. Turnaround time on everything is 5 to 7 days from the time of purchase. I also sell handmade jewelry, dream catchers, and sun catchers if you're interested in checking any of those out as well. And I've launched a second channel here on YouTube, which is called Lady of the Dawn Tarot. There's a link in the description box as well as in the channel section of my page for that. The format over there consists of readings related to topics other than love and romance. So if you're looking for something a little different from me, that is the place to find it. I thank you for your support there as well as for your continued support here on this channel. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi, Group 3. You chose the Larvikite, along with this card, which says there is only light. So to channel some quick introductory energies off of this card in terms of the person on your mind and their thoughts and feelings about you and the connection right now, this is an energy of illumination, a sense that this person feels very safe and very seen in your presence. This is the energy of leaning more deeply into their personal truth and authenticity. This can also really tie into words of wisdom that you've spoken, kind of deeper meanings, deeper truths that they are now finding or discovering and that are starting to make sense. This is somebody who's kind of like reading between the lines, seeing as well that, kind of the way you look at the world is helping to sort of change or reshape the way in which they may be looking at the world around them, that they're looking at themselves. Overall, it's kind of the effect of positive change upon themselves. A sense of your, getting to know one another, your conversations back and forth with kind of all this blue, this throat chakra energy right here, that you really have helped to uplift them in some way, to illuminate or enlighten them in some way. There's a feeling almost of being very activated even by literally your voice itself, the two of you in your dealings with one another, not just in terms of like you inspire each other with the words that are spoken or perspectives that are given, but something on a vibrational level that really accelerates personal growth or lends into the sense of like spiritual awakening or again like literal activations. There's an energy here of kind of these subtleties of vibration that this person is really focusing on. They're trying to sort of decipher and discern this. What are the deeper layers and implications of this connection? Maybe what are the spiritual implications of this connection? Also with this kind of blue energy here, the throat chakra and the idea of there's only light, there may be some truth that they are getting ready to express to you. Feelings are getting ready to confess for the first time, or some kind of a big conversation that it feels like with kind of this yellow here, this solar plexus chakra. They're working up the courage to break the ice in some way, to give more, to be more vulnerable, be more of that authentic self, show and bring out into the light more of the fullness of who they are. This could be somebody who's been kind of guarded, hesitant, or maybe you're just starting to get to know one another. You don't know each other very well, or you both kind of have come into this situation with your own sort of like wounds and defense mechanisms. But kind of the more that you're spending time with one another, the more that you're talking, the more that you're kind of exchanging ideas, and more importantly, that vibrational exchange, it feels that it's pulling your person into the stance of, I feel safe to be seen. I feel safe to let that guard down. I feel safe to kind of lower the walls that I have and the defense mechanisms that I have. That it's almost a sense of you help them to feel very balanced or very empowered in a certain way. You really may have also been kind of a shoulder for this person to cry on, or again, sort of like words of wisdom or inspiration that you've given them, maybe even just your own personal personal story that you've shared, in some way you're helping this person to kind of evolve beyond limitations within themselves, perception of limitation, or kind of a dark period that they have been in. Maybe you've kind of met one another at sort of a turbulent part in your life, or maybe they were in kind of a lower vibration and you've helped to uplift them or pick them up in some sense. And it's almost that they feel more confident in your presence, more kind of capable within themselves, and it's an energy of wanting to sort of repay that, wanting to convey that or to express that. Not just platonic gratitude here, though. This feels to be something where you've shifted something, you've awakened something within you, you've activated something within them that kind of comes alive in your presence. And so it's this interest to invest more deeply, to start to kind of have those discussions about feelings and emotions and romance and love, which may have really been held within. So this can even be working up the courage to tell you that they love you for the first time, not just for kind of the surface level qualities, but this feels to be something they love you at the soul level as well, for how you've really helped to sort of shift and change their perception on themselves, help them out of kind of a dark period in their life. You may have really been a light in the darkness and inspiration, your words, your attention, even just sitting very quietly with them in their darkened spaces or in their darkest hour. You've really been this kind of beacon, this consistency. And so it's an energy of wanting to reciprocate that, be more consistent with you, be more open, be more direct, accelerate that layer of communication with one another. Or if this is something where this is a no contact situation, this is somebody who's really kind of working up that courage, maybe to reach out, to break the ice, to break the silence, to get that conversation started again. This could have been somebody that got triggered or got derailed in some sort of way. Something could have happened in their life that kind of unraveled the connection between the two of you, more than just triggers, like some sort of outside circumstance where they've been kind of distracted. The wheel has not turned in their favor, and so their attentions have been elsewhere. And there's a sense here of really wanting to move back toward rebuilding or reestablishing the connection between the two of you, those lines of communication, wanting to create that more consistently, or to invest more, to give more, maybe speak some kind of personal truth, provide you with explanation of kind of their reasons for being distracted or their attention being elsewhere. And it's a sense of empowerment, of kind of courage and leaning into sort of the best self is definitely these are the thoughts that they are having about you, is kind of, you bring out that best version of them, you help them to see that, you mirror or reflect that to them in some way. And it feels like through whatever it is you embody, they're kind of like looking to that example and emulating or trying to mimic that in some way in their own life. So I'm gonna get some tarot to dig a little bit deeper into this and see what are their thoughts and feelings about you and the connection right now. Okay, we have the Chariot, which is Cancer. Eight of Swords, which is air energy, Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra. Nine of Cups, which is water energy, Pisces, Cancer, and Scorpio. And the Magician, which is Gemini. So it definitely feels to be somebody who, they're feeling like they're lighter in your presence. They get a lot of satisfaction over time spent with you, even kind of difficulties and a difficult period. It's almost like you've helped them to sort of walk through fear and anxiety. You calm them in a certain manner. You help them to feel more optimistic, feel more capable, feel more powerful. You've been an instrumental force in helping them to kind of reclaim their personal power or autonomy in a certain way. This is the energy of that they feel more balanced in your presence, and because of and as a result of having dealt with you, your interactions with one another, not just in terms of like affection that's expressed or exchanged back and forth, but this really feels to be something on like an energetic level, or the nature of what you've spoken about, words of motivation or encouragement. or just being there as kind of that force of consistency for them as they've kind of needed to untangle themselves from certain sort of like knots or complications in their own life. There's an energy here of wanting to kind of pivot or shift the situation very substantially, either from how they've been showing up, to acknowledge in some sort of way these feelings that they have for you, something that they're trying to manifest or to call in, and really an acknowledgement here, that it feels like they may be kind of preparing or nearing that point of delivery, of really letting you know that you have been instrumental in helping them to kind of recognize the path forward to their better life. You've helped to kind of unearth that better version of them. You have provided that sort of like safe, encouraging, and consistent space where they've really felt very free to kind of grow into themselves, or to step out of some version of limitation and back out into the light of life. You've brought them back to life. You've helped them to really sort of reprioritize or kind of reformat and reshape what is important, what they've been holding on to, ways in which they've been getting in their own way. They've kind of been acting as their own worst enemy. Just leading by example, it's something that is really, it feels like it has helped them to sort of shift and reshape and let a lot of things go. And with that is kind of this, they're tiptoeing to the edge of something that it feels like they want to say that is hopefully will be well received by you, that this is something that will be reciprocated. These could be feelings that have kind of been suggested but have not really been openly expressed, or kind of, even if you said I love you and there's affection back and forth, there's something here with like the nature and gravity of what you've really, a very positive effect you've had on their life, to where it goes, it's almost like a soul level gratitude, that they see you as some kind of a divine gift, a divine presence in their life, that the stars have aligned even through the worst of times and the worst of circumstances for the two of you to really intersect with one another. There's an energy of wanting to reciprocate here, wanting to help to uplift you, to be that shoulder you can cry upon in your darkest hours, rather than just having it be all kind of one-sided, maybe where you're doing all the heavy lifting. This feels to be something where their heart is telling them that they need to kind of be more open, they need to be more forthcoming, that it's in their best interest to, I kind of help you to sort of balance the weight in some way, in the ways in which this connection is being sustained or is being shaped. If it's somebody at a distance, they've kind of done a lot of it, feels like growing and evolving into themselves, maybe even reflecting on words that you'd spoken, or watching you from afar, from a distance, seeing ways in which you've up-leveled, you've changed, you've really taken control of your life, or certain situations or limitations that had kind of been barriers for you, and you've transcended that. It's been an inspiration to this person to seek, find, and overcome barriers within themselves as well. And so this feels to be somebody that's kind of, they're on that sort of twist in their narrative arc where they're wanting to lean more deeply into this situation, or move back in your direction to see, can we move past the difficulties? Can you be patient with me if this is someone you're currently dealing with? While I kind of like move beyond this sort of uncertainty, a fear of being hurt, a fear of being vulnerable, a fear of kind of what comes next, steps out into the unknown, new territory for this situation. And in the interest of like, let's co-create something. Let's move toward deep personal emotional satisfaction, not just for one of us, but for the both of us, very mutually, very reciprocally. Getting ready to express that energy of empowerment as well, of, you help them kind of realize that better version of themselves. You help them reclaim their personal power, or they feel very empowered in your presence, but more than just kind of leaning in with a sense of like, I want to pull this person closer or keep them close because it serves me in some manner. It's an energy of they want to co-create with you. They see the two of you as a very effective team as far as manifestations are concerned. New perspective, energies that you exchange, even things that are really activated by your presence with one another, or even just kind of on an energetic level in terms of, your voices really activating things within one another, activating that heart space, activating that higher potential, an energy of kind of your energies merging, and a desire to acknowledge this out in the open. Something that they've been observing, they've been seeing, they've been kind of noting from afar, and they feel to be in this place of wanting to really acknowledge just how special this is, acknowledge just how pleased this is, acknowledge just how much of a gift you are in their life, or that this connection, your interactions with one another, or the history that you shared at one point in time, how meaningful this has been, that even the difficulties, even the strife, personal strife between the two of you, that it's overall been a benefit for very positive growth and change. And so this feels to be something where it's almost somebody who's kind of like working up the courage to kind of be more transparent, or to let themselves be seen for their personal truth in a more profound manner in this connection with you. Like that's kind of where, that's where the feeling sense is leading them into this energy of kind of coming out of the logical mind and dropping down into that heart space. And what's in that heart space, it almost feels like something that hasn't been directly acknowledged up to this point in time, maybe because of other distractions, other things they had going on, a process of balancing within that needed to take place. And now that they've reached this equilibrium within, they're almost able to see from this higher advantage who is kind of a party to all of this, what has been kind of the influence, or the person that has been very consistent with them through this process, or very instrumental or inspirational in this process of kind of awakening something within them, awakening this kind of balanced emperor energy here. So rather than kind of operating out of pride and ego or defensiveness or selfishness, there's this aspect here of wanting to kind of co-create, wanting to yield, wanting to move into more of a receptive place, a softer place within themselves, so that a different type of experience can start to unfold between the two of you. So let me dig a little bit deeper into this, their thoughts and feelings about you right now. Okay, we have crown chakra and spiritual strength. Yes, it's definitely a very transcendent connection. What they feel for you, this bond for you, this is all kind of like something within the heart chakra that has really activated. You've helped ascend this person beyond some kind of deficit or difficulties within. So it's very possible that this is somebody who's like a colleague or a friend, something where affection hasn't been the subject. It hasn't been part of your interactions with one another, but they're getting to this point, this kind of awakened reality of this version of them that you have helped almost kind of sit with them in the process of them rebirthing themselves in this kind of new vibration, when they're looking around at kind of like, who is the helping hand in this? Who has provided that kind of source of strength and consistency, that inspiration, or even just that energetic push and surge to release kind of limitations or patterns or anything they felt very bound to in the past, in the interest of stepping more into sovereignty, stepping more into that sense of personal empowerment, stepping out of the darkness and into, one's own personal light, captivating and cultivating that light within self despite the darkened circumstances around them. Their attention is drawn to the fact that, this is possible, this act of co-creation. Not that you've done this work for them, but that in some way your influence or your energy or your presence in their life has been instrumental in this process. This version of them, this balanced emperor energy that may not necessarily fit in with the world they were once inhabiting, that kind of lower vibrational emperor energy, that very sort of 3D perception, a lot of distortion, a lot of ego involved in that, a lot of stubbornness involved in that. They've yielded, they've broken through some sort of glass ceiling, vibrationally speaking, and it's bringing forth a different version of them. Rather than just being beholden to kind of the hands of fate, they're seeing themselves as like a co-creator with the universe. And with that is the idea that when they look around at kind of this new landscape, energetically speaking, you are the person. This connection is something that has really exists also on this kind of other plateau, this other plane. And so it's this awakening, it's this awareness, like this crown chakra opening, this aha moment of, who is the person that will be best suited to kind of, drive this balanced chariot with me into the future. And their attention just keeps coming back to you and to this experience and how instrumental it feels like you have been in their process process of personal transformation. And so again, rather than just kind of like, I want to move in closer in order to keep this light close to me, in order to keep this source of power and like life force energy within my control, within my grasp, which may have been their motivation previously in kind of that lower vibrational emperor energy. They've ascended in some level to where it's almost like, we can help each other. We should be giving equally to each other. You've helped me with my struggles and burdens. I want to help you with your struggles and burdens. We should work as a team and kind of move this vehicle of whatever might develop between the two of us in the future, or if it's someone that would be circling back around, wherever that kind of mechanism of a connection then goes moving forward, they're understanding that it's equal give and take, that the two of you are almost stronger together than apart, and that their life has been changed for the better as a result of your influence in their life. A lot of spiritual energies here as well, so it feels to be something where there could be a lot of like a heart chakra opening, activation, a renewal or a rejuvenation. If this person had like a heart chakra opening before, or a heart chakra activation, it's almost like that heart chakra has just turned on to this high octane level. It's at full force now, full capacity. If it had been cracked open before, it's now shining very brightly. Crown chakra activations, third eye activations, a lot of psychic phenomenon going on, a lot of telepathy going on, a lot of energy exchange going on, to where again, this is rare. This is unlike other connections that they've had. They relate to you on a level that is different from other people in their environment, in their experience, past or present. And so it's this energy of kind of a lot of focus, a lot of attention and intrigue. Somebody who's not running from these energies, but is in kind of the full throng, being sort of pulled along by these things, participating with this, feeling stronger, feeling very empowered, and getting kind of ready, it feels like, on the brink of some sort of communication that they want to express in this manner of kind of like, I want to accelerate this. I want to redefine the nature of our dealings with one another, or I want to try to rebuild and reformat this connection, coming in a different energy than how they had left the first time around, though, or the second time, or however many times you've gone around with this person. It feels like something within them is kind of shifting for the better. It's positive change. It's more empowered communication that they want to have, rather than something one-sided. It's openness, it's transparency, rather than kind of like shadow and deception. So I'm going to get some messages from their higher self now and see what do they want to tell you. Okay. And they say the same divine energy flows in each of us. This energy is the catalyst to our reunion. We just need to allow this energy to work its magic. So this really ties into the idea of some kind of vibrational activation between the two of you. Your exchanges, your conversation, even if it's about very mundane things, something about this person's voice activates you on a certain level. Your voice activates and awakens this person on a certain level. Even if there's no contact, or the times where you're just both kind of leading your life, working on your own sort of things and your own sort of shadows, cultivating that light within self, or just kind of living the day-to-day reality. There's a sense of still an ongoing, or like a never-ending conversation, an exchange between the two of you, a lot going on behind the scenes, a very multi-layered energy here that they don't feel oblivious to. They're very much consciously aware of this. And it might have been something they had tried to kind of ignore, or to just dismiss, or minimize before, but it's now taking precedence in a certain manner, to where they're seeing that to acknowledge, to invest, to feed into that, to embrace that more wholeheartedly, it makes their journey a lot easier, or it strengthens that bond. It makes that more manageable, rather than kind of like a chaotic energy exchange and all of these kind of like never ending kind of indecipherable synchronicities and sort of these waves of energy. It's almost like they're turning around to face that full force and to really acknowledge kind of its origin point, the person on the other side of that dialogue that they are having from the heart to heart, kind of communication from a distance, or the telepathy, or these signs that are coming in, these waves of energy. They're really acknowledging that its origin point is you. It's these dynamics between the two of you. And so looking at this full force, giving this a lot of thought of kind of like, okay, eventually we need to sort of step this out of just this sort of higher dimensional realm or aspect. So it's plans and preparations, it feels like, to kind of bring that merge together between the higher self, the 5D, and kind of more of a balanced 3D energy between the two of you. They also say the planets are activating us to heal and bringing us closer together. Surrender to these changes. So yeah, in addition to kind of the two of you directly activating and accelerating one another's spiritual journey, they're also starting to become very aware of like lunar cycles, planetary shifts. Maybe at this point in time, especially, there's a lot of intense energies coming into the planet. It's a timeless reading, so whenever you see these messages and they resonate, please just take them accordingly. But at the time I'm recording this, we're like 2 days away from a super full moon in Aquarius, and then we've got the Lionsgate portal, and then there's another super moon after that. So a lot of high octane, supercharged energy at this particular point in time. A lot of planets in retrograde, going into retrograde, a lot happening cosmically speaking, and it feels like even with all of this kind of topsy-turvy energy, in some way this person sees you as an anchor, a grounding force, or you're in this storm, you're in this kind of chaos right alongside them, and it's a sense of there's nobody else I would rather have by my side. I feel more balanced in this energy, knowing that even if we've not necessarily spoken about this directly, that I'm not alone. It's like they're sensing your presence there as a companion. Maybe you've talked about these things even, and you've been kind of a sounding board or a source of spiritual strength for them to surrender more to their process of unfolding, stepping into that better and best version of self, stepping into more spiritual alignment, ascending, your experiences that you've shared, or the space that you've held for them to be able to kind of unpack and, sort of debrief what's happening with them. It's been invaluable, and it's something to where they're no longer looking at this as coincidence or something where it's just like, okay, well, that was really nice that person took the time to hold space for me. They're understanding that the two of you are in some kind of bigger journey with one another. And they also say, I'm not going to give in to fear. I know fear is only an illusion. So the intensity and nature of this bond may have been something that was very outside of the box, outside of the ordinary for them. The process of awakening, it definitely could be very turbulent, as is usually always the case with a process of awakening or ascension. So earlier on in the connection, there may have been doubts or hesitations about, if they admitted more to these feelings or participated more with these energies, they may have almost thought that it made matters worse or it intensified these things. So there could have been a bit of withdrawal, running, or just trying to deny or suppress in some manner as like a self-protective mechanism. But it feels like they've cracked through those sort of boundaries within themselves to a certain extent, and have really realized that with the defense mechanisms or without the defense mechanisms, there's some kind of bigger process that's unfolding here between the two of you, and also individually with the two of you, that in some way your ascension journeys or your spiritual journeys are linked. So it could be, like a deep soulmate connection, a twin flame, a twin soul dynamic, just, anything like that, even kind of beyond the boundaries of definitions and labels. Something that they're really seeing is very significant and next level about this situation, that, you're their partner, you're their person, you're the one who's kind of linked up with them on the other side of the glass that they've kind of broken through. If nobody else in their world or their reality can kind of understand what they're going through or is experiencing the same thing, if they're not on that kind of ascension pathway, they're really seeing that kinship energy with you. And more than just having kind of like a buddy system with one another, there are deep feelings that are opening up at the soul level, that what is stirring, what's being cracked open, their capacity to kind of feel and experience love of a more intense, deep, and all-encompassing layer and level than they have ever had in partnerships before. It goes beyond just chemistry. It goes beyond just attraction. It goes beyond just kind of like mutual interest or convenience. There's something deeply at the soul level that it feels like this person is really acknowledging that there's a bond that exists between the two of you, that is beyond love and yet merits the kind of opening of those emotional energies to explore romance and affection. They also say, I'm awakening. I know more than I'm letting on. So confirmation right there of spiritual awakening, somebody on an ascension path, an ascension journey. They may already identify you or recognize you as their soulmate, as their twin flame, as their twin soul. Conversations that you have not had, kind of not acknowledging the synchronicities, not speaking of these things out in the open and directly. A sense of almost if they avoided it or denied it, maybe it'd go away. But it feels like they've moved beyond that layer of fear and are kind of working up this courage, getting to that empowered place of like something they want to talk about. They want to bring this out into the open. They want to address the elephant in the room. A lot of this unspoken energy, it feels like, between the two of you, these shared experiences, that it's beyond coincidence. This is outside of the ordinary. It's something that it almost feels like this declaration or this revelation, bringing something out of the shadows into the light. It's a key component to kind of the next stage of their evolution and unlocking the potential of what the two of you are to one another, what you can be to one another, what kind of the stars and the planetary alignments have orchestrated, hands of destiny and fate across time have really orchestrated this sort of perfect recipe, this perfect storm of the two of you discovering one another, being revealed to yourselves, and then reaching this place of revealing yourselves to one another on a deeper level, on that spiritual and soul level. And they also say, clear the illusions of the 3D world. Don't take everything at face value. There's a lot more going on spiritually and energetically than you can see. So another confirmation there of a lot that they are not saying, as much as they may have kind of confided in you, expressed to you some kind of difficulties that they're going through. Maybe this is the kind of person that just responds to everything with, I'm fine. And yet you can read beyond the energies to sense that there's something else going on. Maybe their behavior towards you's gotten weird. They've kind of like pulled away a little bit, or you can just kind of sense and feel that tension. If this is like a deep spiritual bond, then you're linked with one another. You're mirroring that. You're walking this parallel path with one another. So it can almost be the energy of like, if you're having difficulties with ascension right now and purging and kind of up leveling, it's almost a guarantee that this person is as well, but they're not saying anything about it at this particular point in time. It's almost that anchor of like, I've got to hold on to just this mask of everything's cool, everything's okay, I am unbothered, I'm unfazed by the situation, but inside there's so much that is like churning and that's been awakened, that is being exchanged between the two of you, that it's beyond their ability to, at least within themselves at this point in time, continue to deny. So they're looking full force at that, and it feels like reaching this point of wanting to kind of break through those barriers on a 3D level. You and they have broken through something energetically, and so now it's kind of like from the top down, they're trying to kind of work up that courage and work up that nerve to really sort of, again, address that elephant in the room, speak about these truths, open those lines of discussion to the exploration of kind of this otherness, this kind of otherworldly or next level love or connection that they feel with you. And they also say our hearts are connected. Take a moment to close your eyes and feel the connection. So that's that beautiful energy of that bright spiritual strength. Again, if this is someone who had their heart chakra activated at one point in time or awakened, cracked open, the experience with you has been next level. That has kind of blown the doors wide off of that. Whatever their experience with this was at one point in time, what they're going through now is something totally outside of the box. It's totally outside of the definitions or the experiences or the sensations that they have had in conjunction to spiritual exchange with another person. And it feels like almost distance between the two of you is serving this situation. It's giving this person the ability and the opportunity to really decipher and really see that this is more than just power of suggestion. It's more than just the two of you maybe getting caught up in the moment and exchanging with one another, that there's real time something happening between the two of you. Your stories are overlapping, your kind of experiences are overlapping, even as much as is not acknowledged, there's and spoken of out in the open. It's almost a sense of kind of like they feel this truth, they feel so compelled towards you, and like there's more to this journey, there's more to this story. It's more than just somebody who's like a support system for them in their darkest hour, helping them into their next best version of self as they are climbing on that kind of ascension ladder, moving up that kind of chakra tree into this different manifestation of them in the material reality. When they look around at the people in their lives and where their priorities are at, where their energy's at, where they're vibrating at, the work they're doing within themselves or not doing, they look around and it's almost kind of like those individuals, even the closest, connections that they have, it's just a shadow compared to the vibrance that they sense with you, the sense of kind of you're on the same page, you are linked to one another on a more deep way than they have been linked to another person before, or that they are currently resonating with others around them. So it almost feels to be something that they're kind of, there's a sanctuary within where they're tapping into this energy between the two of you to really help one another. They're trying to kind of help and feed energy into this, even if it's not directly spoken, to kind of take some of the weight off, ease the burden, be that source of support for you, spiritually speaking, at kind of this precipice of opening up more of those lines of communication of let's talk about this directly. Let's kind of strategize some way to evolve and to explore this energy that we are now kind of opened more deeply to. Let's bring this out into the open. And they also say, I'm changing this pattern and moving forward. So yeah, they're getting ready to break out of some kind of cycle, working up the courage, working up the strength and stamina to, be that balanced emperor in the chariot and shift this narrative arc in a very positive direction. They're wanting to continue to evolve this connection beyond its current circumstances. So if it's somebody in no contact, they may be getting prepared to sort of move back around, make some kind of offer, demonstrate to you the changes that have taken place and see, are the two of you aligned? Is this something where this can be grounded into material reality, this kind of energetic vibe between the two of you? If it's somebody that you're currently dealing with, but maybe there's a lot unspoken here, again, it's this energy of working up the courage to really acknowledge a lot of hidden truths, to bring a lot out into the open, to address and to bring more deeply into the fold of your dynamic with one another, these kind of outside of the box aspects, these spiritual aspects, these energetic aspects, in a way that is outwardly acknowledged rather than kind of denied or hinted at. It's speaking about this directly and owning that so that the two of you can then move forward with one another. And they also say union is an energy, not a physical construct. Even when we aren't together, I feel our union. So another confirmation there of this energetic bond between the two of you. Definitely a situation where this is like union or reunion that is building from the higher realms, grounding down into material reality. This feels to be definitely another confirmation that this person is wanting to evolve with you beyond the point of your current understanding or dealings with one another. They may be going through a lot spiritually at this point, or planetarily speaking, cosmically speaking, and it's almost like needing to get their footing in some way. They've broken through some sort of ceiling. They've exited the atmosphere, and they're now kind of, on their way to deep space as far as, energetically speaking, or aspects of their personal journey, or things that have been activated and awakened, like the crown chakra wide open, heart chakra wide open, third eye chakra wide open, and just a lot that they're receiving, a lot that they're having to process and kind of interact with, like a whole new world of energy and dynamic. But in all of that confusion, in the midst of all of that, they feel your energy so clearly. They sense your presence so clearly. Even if your dealings with one another are very infrequent or very mundane, or if it's full no contact, you're there. You're there alongside them on this journey, and it's very undeniable at this particular point in time. And so it's the idea of, they're trying to work their way to that place of some kind of empowered conversation that they're wanting to have, some kind of empowered truth they are wanting to speak. about this, to really address this openly and honestly, so that the two of you don't just have to continue to accompany one another along this journey remotely and energetically speaking, but to bring that into more of a direct acknowledgement, so that kind of like what's happening inside can match the outside of your dynamic with one another. So I'm going to get some initials or some guidance from Spirit, and then I'll close it out with some initials. Okay. We have this chapter of self-doubt and negativity has come to an end. Now you will experience true love, the love you've been seeking. So beautiful confirmation there of, a cycle which has ended, a layer of your connection with this person that is wrapping up. And the best way that you can help that you can facilitate that, is to continue to move through any kind of blocks, barriers, or obstacles within yourself that kind of like keeps you in a stance of feeling that, maybe you're not worthy and deserving of healthy and reciprocal love, that, anything that is really causing you to sort of doubt or undermine or second guess more of the spiritual aspects and layers of this connection with this individual. When you are confronted with those obstacles, almost these parts of you that are wanting to close the door because it's too intense, it's not been confirmed outwardly. All it is synchronicities and kind of these energetic confirmations. It's good to have that kind of basis of logic to really sort of vet out and question, to keep perspective. But this is the energy of kind of this and that are true. So whatever your 3D dynamic, whatever has not been spoken, or any kind of, distance between the two of you, that is just as authentic as what is taking place and taking shape and becoming more consciously known and participated with by you and this person, energetically speaking. So when you can hold space for both of those truths, you are able to kind of walk between those worlds in a way that you become this portal, you become this doorway for a merging of those truths, for kind of that higher reality to merge with kind of the more limited or linear reality, so that there's a new pathway forward that is formed between the two of you. Everybody has free will, and especially if this is somebody, you're both on kind of an ascension journey, intentions are really great, but then, the energies could have something very different to say about that. It's fear could definitely pick up at any point in time. So it's no guarantee that this is like a linear path forward, which is why it's important for you to continue to move forward along your own personal journey and trust that, the forces are kind of aligning in your favor. The energies are aligning in your favor. This person is really acknowledging and tapping into and owning and embracing within them the extraordinary nature of this connection, trusting that, and giving them the opportunity to kind of move into that balanced emperor energy, that chariot energy, where they're taking that step towards you. They're coming out from hiding, trusting that sort of any delays are definitely part of some sort of spiritual journey within, something that has been activated. Just as you may have things that you need to kind of work on individually, they have things they need to work on individually, so that the two of you are able to really rise into love, rise into the occasion of what's possible between the two of you. Not putting your life on hold, or kind of actively holding a place for this person, and kind of not taking full advantage of the opportunity for personal growth and change, but really trusting in kind of a bigger plan in place, trusting that all these activations and this kind of extraordinary dynamic between the two of you, outside of sort of linear 3D reality, is in place for a reason. It's not just meant to mock you. It's not just meant to taunt you. It's not just meant to kind of mess with your mind. It's a reality that's available. It's a timeline that's available. If you both choose to continue to do the work to evolve and grow within yourselves, to reach that place where it's sustainable in the material world in the here and now. So this is definitely the energy of like holding space where there's hope for what the future of this connection can hold, and also where you are honoring the reality of where you are at presently and where this person's at. So what you're shown and what you feel, both are valid in this situation. So I'm going to get some initials. This can be a first, middle, or last name of you or this person, or it can spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. Okay. We have B, J, Q, V, G, I, E, D, P, S, L, V, and U. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer them through my Etsy shop, and there's a link in the description box of the video for that. I offer a variety of pre-recorded video readings, written readings, and channeled letters. Turnaround time on everything is 5 to 7 days from the time of purchase. I also sell handmade jewelry, dream catchers, and sun catchers if you're interested in checking any of those out as well. And I've launched a second channel here on YouTube, which is called Lady of the Dawn Tarot. There's a link in the description box as well as in the channel section of my page for that. The format over there consists of readings related to topics other than love and romance. So if you're looking for something a little different from me, that is the place to find it. I thank you for your support there, as well as for your continued support here on this channel. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well.